Ahead this hour. A community in mourning comes together to march against hatred after the devastating mass shootings in the U.S. We'll go live to El Paso, Texas. Plus, demonstrations in Hong Kong staging a sit-in at the international airport. And the death toll is rising in China. Typhoon Lakima also leaving many more missing. We'll be live in the CNN Weather Center with the latest. Hello, I'm Lynda Kinkade. Welcome to CNN Newsroom. Authorities in the U.S. are investigating the apparent suicide of Jeffrey Epstein, the wealthy financier accused of sex trafficking young girls. The Federal Bureau of Prisons confirms Epstein died Saturday morning in his jail cell. Officials believe he hanged himself. That's according to a law enforcement source speaking to CNN. Well, let's get the latest on the investigation.
That's the big question right now, because Epstein did try, it seemed he tried to take his life last month, and authorities were investigating whether he was harmed by someone at the prison or if he had any self-inflicted wounds, but he was found unconscious then with some marks around his neck. So it's really shocking that he was then found dead this morning from an apparent suicide, because he was in this special housing unit of the Metropolitan Correctional Center. Now, this is one of the highest security jails in the prison. It held El Chapo, the Mexican drug lord, when he was on trial in New York. So it's got high security. It's a big question of how this was able to happen when he was in the specialized unit. It's unclear if he was under suicide watch, but if he was, there are protocols that should have been followed. He should have been viewed at all times and within the eyesight of the guards. He should have had restrictions on what he was allowed to have in his cell. This is the big question, and now we know that the FBI is investigating this to get to the bottom of how he was able to kill himself in prison, and whether the Bureau of Prisons had followed the right protocols, and whether he should have been in suicide watch since he did have an apparent attempt just 3 weeks earlier, and if he wasn't, why?
And you're also hearing from the Attorney General asking that very question.
That's right. The U.S. Attorney General Bill Barr, a source told us that he was livid when he learned the news of Epstein's suicide. We got a statement from him where Barr said that I was appalled to learn that Jeffrey Epstein was found dead early this morning from an apparent suicide while in federal custody. Mr. Epstein's death raises serious questions that must be answered. He also said that he's asked the Inspector General of the Department of Justice to begin an investigation into how this was able to occur.
And just quickly, you're hearing from accusers. How are they reacting?
Yeah, I mean, we're hearing from lawyers from a number of accusers. One of them was saying that, a number of people were scared because Epstein is a wealthy person. There have been allegations that he has tried to intimidate witnesses in the past. And a number of accusers said that they were terrified to come forward with their story. So one lawyer who's represented many women over the course of a past decade who have said that they were abused by Epstein, he's asking for more women to come forward. He says they will still fight for justice. Epstein is a wealthy man that could go after his estate and still get some kind of financial reparations for these women. Other attorneys are saying that, they want the Department of Justice to continue this criminal investigation because there was no way that Epstein pulled off this sex trafficking operation alone for so many years. So they're urging the Department of Justice to continue to investigate how these alleged crimes could have happened for so long.
Kara Scanell in DC, good to have you with us. Thanks so much. Well, for more on this, let's bring in CNN legal analyst Paul Callan, who's joining us via Skype from Belmar, New Jersey. Paul, good to have you with us. Epstein was charged with trafficking girls as young as 14. What now happens to the cases against him?
Well, the criminal cases will be dismissed, and what will happen is the civil cases which have been filed will be shifted over to lawsuits against the estate of Jeffrey Epstein. And that estate will then become the entity that will be sued by the existing claimants, but also I suspect there'll be many other victims now coming forward with new claims against him. With him being gone, the fear factor will be gone with a lot of these victims. He had so much money and he put so much fear in so many people that he probably suppressed a large number of complaints that might have been made, and I think you'll see those victims coming forward. This case will go on for quite a while, and I think it's going to cause enormous embarrassment in celebrity circles and political circles as we hear more about the high-ranking governmental people and people in show business who, socialized with him even after he had been adjudged to be a child abuser, a registered child abuser.
And speaking of those in his circle, previously sealed documents were released Friday that paint a disturbing picture of what went on in his house, in his mansion in Florida, in his apartment complex in New York, and how he and his associates were able to recruit young girls. Could some of those associates now face charges?
Oh, they most certainly could. I would think that the federal investigation will continue because they had in their sights a number of people who may have aided and abetted Epstein in procuring these girls and then servicing him as he ran this illegal empire. So they'll certainly be investigating to see if there are other people who aided and abetted in this criminal conspiracy.
So this case isn't going away, clearly. The federal case is. Civil cases could pursue and the investigation will continue.
That's right. So I think given the fact that you've got so many high-profile people who crossed paths with Jeffrey Epstein, this is going to stay in the news for quite some time to come as we hear about new names of new individuals who were interacting with him while he was engaging in criminal activity.
All right, Paul Callan, great to get your perspective, your analysis here today on this story. Thank you so much.
Thank you.